So, for my project, I coded my own version of Tetris in the Unity engine using the game language C#. So, when I first coded this main menu, I coded into the menu the ability to have 3 different options for buttons you click. The play button just advances you to the game scene, which I will show you later. The options button will disable the main menu as shown and switch you over to the options menu, which has a volume slider to allow you to adjust the volume, a cheat code, it's more a visual code, but it'll allow you to change the aesthetics of the game and the music, and the back button, which will just do the exact opposite of what happened earlier and reboot up the main menu. So the game actually itself is very simple. It just has a score up at the top that basically just increments with every time it deletes a line. Main camera, which is very simple, an audio codec, which has multiple different songs that are based off your aesthetic choice, and a game logic button, which is right here, which has a whole bunch of logic that uses many different things to make the game run smooth and has code. Lastly, when you die, it shows you the end screen, which just has basically the same buttons as the original, except no options button this time. So you can play or quit. Play just takes you back to the game scene, where you just play the game. So, originally for my project, I was planning on making 3 different versions of Tetris. One that uses soft body physics, so basically the Tetris pieces were like jelly and things. That ended up not being very easy to code, so I ended up dropping that one, and I was going to just do undefined movement and normal Tetris. But then again, I ran out of time, so I ended up not being able to use the unrefined movement. I wrote this code basically so that I could define the undefined movement and create undefined movement. So the character would start moving down and just fall due to gravity, and you can move it left and right how you would expect a normal 2D platformer to move, except that you can't jump and stuff. So it started falling and stuff like that. It was eventually not used, but it was fun to write at least. So here's a code for that if you ever want to look at it. So, and then I started writing the game logic for the actual game itself. So this basically just defines a whole bunch of variables, spawns a block, and sets some music. Then it has a whole bunch of scripts to allow it to destroy, create, and just manage lines. And lastly, it creates the blocks every time a block gets destroyed. And for every single frame, you can push the escape key, and it'll determine if you're paused or not, and it'll switch between the two depending on if you click escape. It also defines the score for the score. The last thing was the block logic, which is just basically the movement logic for the blocks that exist. So it'll start out by finding this script, whichever object it's on, and it'll start doing that. It then has a call for whenever a block lands, to register the block onto a grid, which basically is just a collision system I used. This script right here just basically checks if the movement's valid. If it's not, then it'll basically reset you back. So then every single frame, the timer updates. Basically, it'll tick up till 0.9 seconds, and then it'll move your block down 1. So that is the script right here, depending on what you're doing. And if you're holding down S, then the block will move down very quickly. If you're not, then the block will not move down very quickly and move down every 0.9 seconds. So also, if you click A or D, these 2 scripts right here will move you left or right depending on which key you click. And this one, if you click space, it'll spin your character 90 degrees and allow you to basically spin the character.